Hello guys, and welcome to this hands-on session on using SAS function. So you start off by writing a new program. In this case, I'll just be illustrating some, the use of some numeric functions. Okay, in this example. If we just start off with a data step, and let's just call this sort of customer underscore visits underscore FCTS for functions. 1, so the first data set that we'll be creating. Now, if we'll basically import the customer underscore visits underscore all data set, and we'll rename. So this rename statement allows you to rename your variables. So change the name. Just rename spend to S1. So the first type of spend, and that's because we want now to be using some functions to create other spend variables. So in this case you've got S2, and we're applying the int function, so the integer of S1. We can create an S3 variable where we're basically rounding the S1 variable as well. And we close off the statement. We can create an S4 variable where we basically generate a random number, so using the ranUni function that I earlier mentioned. Okay, so we'll just use 1, 2, 3 as a seed. If you don't know what that means, don't worry, it's more of a stats thing, but we'll basically just use a ranUni, so random number between 0 and 1 times S1. Okay, so we'll have a fraction of S1. Then let's create maximum spends, and let's define that as the maximum of the previous 4 types of spends, so max of S1, S4. And likewise, let's use, say, minimum spend, where we'll define the minimum of S1 to S4. Note that I'm not using of here in this particular case. So let me just add that. So now mean spend, we're putting the mean of a set of variables, and sum spend as the sum of the different 4 spends. Okay. So now let me create, just change maybe the format. I could be doing that if I had an interest on, say, the S4 or the maximum spend or even the minimum spend. So if I wanted to change the format of some of these variables, I'd be using the format statement basically. Okay, and I'm going to be just writing it out with 2 decimal places, and then just print out this custviz functions 1 to inspect my results. So if I just go run, give it a minute, and there you go. So basically you've got, for each customer, you've got different types of spend, so S1, S2, or S3. I used the lowercase, but never mind. But S2, S3, S4, and then maximum, minimum, mean, and sum. Okay, so really just an example of using these numeric functions. Okay, so now if we start a new program, let's do something similar for or let's basically come up with an example for the put and the lag functions, okay, and the input function as well, actually. So I'll just illustrate some particular functions as well. So if you recall this retail purchases data set, we created this custvisit, which has a customer key, a basket, and the sum of spend for each customer on each basket. So now we want to be using this to to calculate the difference between successive baskets. Let's just put it that way. So if I just go purchases underscore lag, so remember that the lag function is useful to calculate successive differences, or the differences between successive observations. We need to set that data set, so read it, use by processing with the customer key that we want to use, and then if it's the first customer key and last customer key, we want to delete this observation, because basically that means that it's not the first, that customer only visited once the store. Okay, so what we want to do is calculate the difference between consecutive visits of the same customer. So in order to do that, we just go diff spend equals sum of spend, so remember that variable, minus lag, okay, of the sum of spend. So the lag function sort of using this memory to work out this diff underscore spend variable. And then finally, if it's not the first customer key, then output, i.e. this means that it's not the first time that that customer has come to visit the store, it means that he's visited more than once, so we want to output that result. Okay, so we're basically calculating the differences, so purchases underscore lag. If we print out the first observations, gives us the differences in spend between subsequent visits of the very same customer. Okay, so if we just go proc print this, we should be able to basically inspect our result. Okay, let's just print out some of the customer visits observations so that we can actually validate this. And so let's just pick two random customer IDs. So remember the where clause and the in operator. So I just pick those two customer IDs you see there, and I print out that for both the cust underscore visits and the purchases lag. Okay, just so that we can inspect and really make sure we're getting what we want out of this. Okay. Okay, so I'll just let you read that a bit more. Okay, so let's just print that out. And remember, basically you want to make sure that you got the right results. Okay, now moving on to using the the input statement. Okay, so now let's create the data step where we want to convert that C class key variable that I've just shown you to a numeric variable. Okay, so basically there you need to use another function basically. So we read the retail underscore purchases data set. Okay, and then what we do is we do C class, so customer class underscore num for numeric equals put C class key, or C class underscore key. So basically what we're doing there is, if you recall what I've just shown you, we're converting that C class underscore key variable to a numeric one. Okay, if you just run that builds the conversion. Okay, so I'll just let you soak that up. Use a proc print to check some of those purchases numeric. Okay, so now suppose we actually want to convert it back into a character variable. Okay, so we want to use basically the C class underscore num variable and convert it to a character. Okay, so we'll have to set the purchases underscore num variable, and then let's define a new variable, C class underscore char for character equals input, so not put but input, and then the C class underscore num variable. Okay, and then just the format that we want it to use basically. Okay, so it's very important that you need to specify which format you want the input, or the put for that matter, function to churn out. Okay, so let me print that. So it's purchases underscore character, and if we run all of this code, let's see. So basically, there you go. You've got some of your initial observations. So for each customer, their baskets and their sum of spends. Okay. And now you see there for a couple of customers, their, for those two customers, their sum of spend. If you then go to the table underneath it, you'll see that the diff_spend variable contains the differences between, the subsequent spends. Okay, so that's basically just showing you, the use of the lag function. Okay. Now, if you scroll further down, you'll see that the C-class key, the C-class num, and then the C-class character variables were created and added to the dataset.